barely breaks double digits in IQ, who says the most outrageous, ridiculous things. And you couldn't beat him. And even the one time they beat him, it was by 43,000 votes in 3 swing states in 2020. This Democratic leadership knows nothing. They know nothing at all other than donors. Please give us money. We'll do anything for you. We'll do anything. I'm begging you. And so you did. Kamala Harris, you did just like Hillary Clinton did. You way outraised Donald Trump. You thought money was the answer. What happened? They lost track of the ends. They just got stuck on the means. So money was supposed to be a means to an end, which is winning. But they're not even bothering to win anymore. That was the most boring, terrible campaign I've ever seen by Kamala Harris. She spent some portion of the campaign hiding out in a basement. They put Tim Walz nearly permanent basement status. They said that Joe Biden had these amazing legislative accomplishments. They never ran on him. And it turns out they weren't popular. Just like we told you here on the Young Turks. I told you those bills wouldn't help in winning an election at all. Every Democrat and every liar on mainstream media told you they were God's gift to humanity and he was FDR 2.0. I told you it barely make a dent. Who was right and who was wrong? At some point, you have to listen to people who have been right instead of people who have been wrong over and over again. The reason I tell you this is because there's going to be primaries in 2022 and there's going to be primaries in 2024. If the Democratic voters make the mistake of listening to these same corrupt morons that are in Democratic leadership, they will get the same result over and over again. We say that Donald Trump is unstable and unhinged, and I think that is true. But you know that old saying about how insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? So how crazy are we if we just go back to the Joe Bidens, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the Kamala Harris's, the Hillary Clintons, the same dumbass people who have been taking donor money, taking it and delivering no results. The Democrats have enormously popular economic policies, but they never actually pass them. They don't even try to pass them. And so then when they don't deliver for the voters, they go, him, it was their fault. And I guarantee you after this election, do you think that Kamala Harris and the rest are going to learn their lesson? There's no chance of that. Instead, they will blame their voters first. They'll talk about, the Arabs and the Muslims, they were the problems of Michigan. They'll talk about young black men didn't turn out. Women should have turned out more. Latinos, how dare they go with a racist Donald Trump? And then they'll say, the country's too racist, the country's too sexist.
100%.
In fact, we have a Democratic congressman on today who said those very same things.
It's just, I'm so sick of the refusal to do any self-reflection at all and to lash out as if the electorate, the onus is on the electorate to get them elected. Like, they're entitled to the voters working for them. And it's like, no. You're running to be a public servant. They had forgotten that, Cenk.
No, absolutely.
And so they're just totally disconnected. They're disconnected from average, everyday Americans. And that's why I think the Democratic Party has been bleeding support from, marginalized communities that, the Democrats purport to be the representatives of. But are you really representing them? What have you done to make their lives better? Running on a voting rights bill and encouraging, an incredible on-the-ground effort in Georgia to ensure 2 Democratic senators got elected in that runoff race, in those runoff races, I should say. When you don't deliver after they've put in the work, the chickens are eventually going to come home to roost.
Yeah.
And so, I get that tonight is depressing for a lot of people, but at the same time, I'm not shedding a tear for the Democrats, okay? They deserve this. The electorate doesn't deserve it, but Democrats deserve it.
Yeah, Democratic politicians.
Yeah, let me be specific.
And so those politicians, what's coming next is they will lie to you. But here's the reality. And look, tune in any Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. That's what we do, Young Turks, on YouTube or TYT.com or all the different places we're on, right? We told you something that you probably never heard in mainstream media. So they said, filibuster, we can't pass anything. First of all, Joe Biden didn't even propose the public option. He said he was going to, and he didn't. And then they said they were going to do higher minimum wage. That's the first thing Joe Biden pulled out of the bill. So there's a reality. There's a truth they said, well, voting rights. I mean, we won Georgia. We won those 2 Senate seats. And then one of the main things they promised was voting rights, right? They said that was their first priority. It was called H.R. 1, right? And that bill had a provision to get money out of politics. Not perfect, but it was a good start. I told you guys on the show immediately, there's no chance they're going to pass that bill because it has a provision to get money out of politics. There's no way they'll do that, right? And what happened? They said, oh, filibuster, parliamentarian. But the part you didn't hear on MSNBC is, but wait a minute, when it came to the debt ceiling, all of a sudden, the parliamentarian and the filibuster were nowhere to be found. They made an exemption for the filibuster that they said over and over and over that they could never make, and it wasn't possible. But as soon as it was for the debt ceiling, because it was going to affect the stock market, their beloved stock market, where all of their money is and all of their donors' money is, all of a sudden the filibuster and the parliamentarian were nowhere to be found. And they lifted it, and they made sure that the debt ceiling should be raised. I think the debt ceiling should be raised. I'm glad they did that. But why didn't you do it for voting rights? Why didn't you do it for higher minimum wage? Why didn't you do it for paid family leave or any of these incredibly popular policies? Because they didn't want to pass them. Because their donors don't want those bills. I mean, look, I've said this a million times, but I'm going to say it one more time here because it's important that you know this. If paid family leave's at 84%, if any bill's at 84%, and you can't pass it, that means you are a miserable failure of a politician. Guys, it's not that they're miserable failures of politicians. It's that they don't want to pass them. That's why they don't propose them. That's why they don't fight for them. And that's why when you're not looking, they take them out of the bills. They're crooks. They're corrupt. The number one issue is establishment versus populist. So if you're voting for an establishment Democrat, they're going to deliver donuts for you. Nothing. And they're going to tell you, oh, the Republicans are bad guys. Everybody's racist and sexist. You have to vote for me, otherwise you're guilty. It's all your fault. And they'll have Morning Joe and Whoopi Goldberg wag their finger at you, okay? But at the end, they won't deliver anything for you. And then when the voters say, well, I guess I'll go for the buffoon who's unhinged because at least he's promising something, and you guys are promising nothing, right? Well, you can catch feelings over that, but that's what happened. And so I didn't lose 2 elections in a row to Donald Trump. The geniuses in the Democratic leadership did. They're not smart. They're not honest. They're not competent. They're not the best of us. They're the worst of us. If you don't change as Democratic voters, this is all you'll ever get. Loss after loss after loss. Eventually, they'll just lose to like an actual literal baboon. And they're like, I don't know. I raised $2 billion from the donors. I didn't do anything at all, but I raised so much money. I don't know how the baboon beat us 4 times. Maybe an orangutan. I mean, he kind of is an orangutan. But anyway, so don't tell me they're successful. Anyone who says that Democratic leadership should be listened to, I'm going to immediately dismiss from now on. No, that means you don't know anything and you're a fool. So there's no point in having a discussion with a fool. So go ahead, Democratic establishment guys, go cry. Go cry. Well, it's because of you we lost this election. It's because of you we lost the election in 2016. So we did it your way. It's not like you didn't get your way. You got your beloved Hillary Clinton. You got your beloved Joe Biden. You got your beloved Kamala Harris. You have your beloved Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Wall-to-wall losses.
So a little bit of good news. I feel like we need a little good news injection now. According to More Perfect Union, Missourians have voted to increase their statewide minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2026, which, you know, is not great, but it's still an increase in minimum wage in the state, clearly showing that the voters in that state have their hearts and minds toward a better economic system. And also, they have voted in favor of guaranteed paid sick days. Look, I just don't think that politics is really all that complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, bread and butter issues. People want better lives. They want financial stability. They want to be able to provide for their families. It's not that difficult. But you look at those ballot measures and how, even in red states, how the electorate tends to vote. And again, it's not that complicated. It's the economy, stupid.
So, Anna, that is a perfect example. Because look, guys, if you watch Young Turks early, you know I'm I'm not a pessimist. 1%.
Yeah, I'm the pessimist.
Yeah, we're gonna get right back on that horse. But my point is, learn the lessons so you get better and better, and you don't just keep staying on the same dumbass donor treadmill that leads to oblivion and falling off a cliff. So I got a plan for you that I'm going to share in a second. But that Missouri ballot measure is perfect because this is the second time they've increased the minimum wage in Missouri.
Nice.
The first time that they increased it was in the 2018 elections where Claire McCaskill was running. Claire McCaskill is a corporate establishment Democrat, and she thought it was a genius idea to not run on the minimum wage. Oh, no, the donors don't like that. No, conservatives are right. Republicans are right. No, nobody wants higher minimum wage.
She got reelected, right?
Oh, well, actually, first of all, I should tell you that at the time, the minimum wage bill, the ballot measure, did pass the first time.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah, it crushed, actually. It got like 62%, right? In Missouri, a very red state. Claire McCaskill lost by 6 points.
Oh, wow, I didn't see that
Yeah.
coming.
Because they're idiots.